One off year should not make Clemson fans forget just how special Cade Klubnik truly is.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Clemson podcast. I'm your host, Ed Nemode. I'm just kidding. That's a glasses reference. My wife calls me that. But anyway, I'm your host, John Bivens. You can follow me over on Twitter at I am John Bivens. We are a credentialed media member and your host for the Locked On Clemson podcast. Credentialed media member, real quick, in case you don't know what that means we get to go behind the scenes and get some post-conference, get some interviews with some players, some coaches. We are credentialed in football, basketball, and baseball at Clemson University. We also are the lead writer and founder of the Tiger Wire. You can find us over on our website, thetigerwire.com. We are getting back posting into blogs real soon. We put out daily blogs as well with this daily podcast. So you can find all kinds of information over there. So that's who we are. That's who, if it is your first time here on the show, there's a little bit more about me. But thanks so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast at and over on YouTube. And we are a part of the amazing Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Here on the Locked On Clemson podcast, so you know what to expect. You're getting three things every time you come here. You're getting all sports, you're getting all passion, and you're getting all the time, where we're bringing you every single day what you need to know about Clemson athletics. Today is Wednesday, July 10th, and man, do we have an episode for you today. We're going to be talking about avoiding some recency bias when it comes to Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik, talking about our Miami game flashback and what that game from last year, that heartbreaking double overtime loss, means for this upcoming season, and we're going to end the episode talking about how Clemson went all out when it comes to the new EA Sports college football game coming out a week from today if you pre-order, or a week from yesterday if you pre-ordered it. We are grateful for all of our sponsors that make this show possible. So let's dive in. I think for some reason, Clemson fans have decided to have only short-term memory. Forget long-term, forget any kind of memory that's over a year ago. Because Clemson, yes, Cade Klubnik had some off year last year. He fumbled the ball, made some poor mistakes. But for some reason, Clemson fans have this recency bias where they only focus in on the short term. And here's why I'm talking about this. So I found a really cool article that Tiger Illustrated put out that went through, and they highlighted all of the Clemson quarterback recruits that Dabo Swinney has brought in. So let's just read off this, starting from the least rated to the top rated. You got Tucker Israel from 2015, Morgan Roberts 11, Bubba Chandler from 21, Cole Stout 2011, Tony McNeil 2011, Tate Reynolds, who we just signed a couple days ago from this year, Blake Herbert, who signed last year, he's coming in next year, Zarek Cooper 2016, Chase Bryce 2017, Kelly Bryant from 2015 played and then transferred. Chad Kelly played and transferred 2012. Tyson Fomachoa, I mispronounce his name like crazy, but from 2019. Great players, right? Let's keep it going. You got Christopher Vinzenia, who is a great player. He's still on the roster right now. He'll probably get some playing time next year, the year after. You got some great players on there. You also got Taj Boyd, who was a 2009 four-star. Now let's get into top five. Top five recruits of Dabo Swinney's career. Notice I have not said Cade Klubnik yet. Number 5 was Deshaun Watson in 2014. We don't talk about his pro days. We don't talk about his personal character, but he was a great quarterback for Clemson University, 31th in the nation, second in his state, number 1 overall in his position. He was a 5-star recruit that Dabo brought in. Dabo's first 5-star recruit at the quarterback position. Then you got Hunter Johnson, who never really got to see a lot of playing time, but he signed with us, another 5-star recruit, 18th national, first in his state, out of the state of Indianapolis and Brownsburg, or Indiana, and then second at his position. Number 3, DJ Uiagalelei. We're going to play him this year with FSU. He was a 5-star recruit. He was the 3rd in in the nation, 2nd in the state, 1st overall at his position. He's from California. And then the second best quarterback that Dabo has ever recruited is none other than your boy, Cade Klubnik. That's right. Cade Klubnik is the number 2 quarterback that Dabo Swinney has ever signed. He came out. He's the 3rd in his nation when he came out. Was 1st overall in the state of Texas. 1st overall at his position. He's a great prospect. Every single school wanted him. He had so many offers, but he came to Clemson. Of course, our number 1 quarterback recruit that Dabo's ever got is Trevor Lawrence, number 1 national player, number 1 state player, number 1 at his position, obviously out of Georgia. He's probably the best recruit since Andrew Luck on all of college football. So I'd love to get another Trevor Lawrence, obviously. That'd be amazing. But let's focus in on Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik, he came in and he sat behind DJU for most of his freshman year. He came in during the ACC championship game and won us that game, played excellent in the ACC championship, won that game, made it to a bowl game where we played Tennessee. He didn't play too hot. We did lose that game. He had some freshman nerves that definitely showed. Last year comes out, pretty much his freshman year, right? Like his first full year as a starter, he showed glimpses of something special. I mean, he showed a lot of glimpses of special. His ability to mobilize out of the pocket, throw off balance, throw across his body, throw with his body, the ability to step up into the pocket and make on-point targets, the ability to put some balls where only his receivers could get. Great. He showed a lot of glimpses, a lot of potential, a lot of great plays. I mean, honestly, if you rank all his great plays and terrible plays, he had more great than terrible. But for some reason, Clemson fans, a lot of them, have just completely forgot about all that. For some reason, they are a part of the recency bias, and you're only focusing on the negatives. You're focusing on the fumbles. You're focusing on the interceptions. You're focusing on the misreads that he had. And look, I get it. It's definitely, I'm not going to ignore it. We're going to talk about it as we talk about the Miami game coming up next. It's not something to ignore, but it's also, let's realize, we're losing faith in the second best quarterback recruit that Dabo Swinney has brought to Clemson in his tenure. Where is the respect? Where is the faith in Dabo? Forget faith in Cade Klubnik. He's a kid. I get that. Where's the faith in Dabo in knowing who his players are? Where's the faith in knowing that he brings in great recruits to year after year after year, and we're forgetting that he brought this guy in? He's going to be something good. He's a great player. The nation thought it. Every school in the country thought it. Everybody wanted him, and he chose Clemson, and we got to show him the respect. We've got to show him faith. We've got to remember how special he truly is. He was the best quarterback and played in one of the toughest high schools ever. Went to the same high school that Drew Brees went to. Played excellent. He's got a good build at 6'2", 185. He's got the pro style. He's a great overall player. And for some reason, we skip all of that. We forget about all that, and all we think about is the couple of mistakes he made. Again, I'm not saying forget about the mistakes, but I am saying don't let the recency bias make you not be a part of something special when Cade Klubnik truly plays how he can. I think this year, and I'm not the only one, there's a couple articles out there that have put him on the watch of players to have a huge bounce-back career or bounce-back year this year. This year, Cade Klubnik's going to return to that player that he was. He's going to show us truly how special he can be. We're going to see the player that played in the ACC championship game. We're going to see that style player. We're going to see him make the right decisions. The ACC game, he came out, his adrenaline's pumping. He came in off the sidelines, off the bench, and got that blame. That great game, right? Completely game, but nobody had time to game plan him. Last year, he was the guy. He had all the pressure. He had all the pressure built on him, and he was a young kid. I mean, at the end of the day, he was 19 years old last year facing all that pressure. Give him some credit. Give him time to realize he's going to get there. Give him a little bit of time. I really believe this year, if I'm wrong, mark it down. If I'm wrong, go ahead and mark me down saying this and let me hear it, all right? I'll listen to all of what you're hearing. Let me hear. But at the end of the day, we've got to have faith in this kid because he's going to be something really good. I have faith in him. I have faith in Dabo and his recruiting and the continuous great recruits that he pulls in. I think this year, the recency bias is not getting me. I got faith in Cade Klubnik, and he's going to have a great year. So excited to see that. But again, we're not forgetting about it. Last year against Miami, there were some key mistakes that give us a little bit of worried for this upcoming year and some things we really need Cade to fix before this year happens. In just a minute, we're going to keep that conversation going and talk all about that.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Guess what, guys? I don't know if you noticed, But I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs have wound down, we get fewer games. And the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. I can picture it right now. Wow, dropping a bet on the Atlanta Braves to beat the Phillies or the Yankees to beat the Boston Red Sox. Oh, I can picture it right now. You can do the same exact thing. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/locked on. That's FanDuel.com/locked on and start making the most out of your summer. Stop dreaming and do it. I'm telling you, go do it right now. FanDuel, the official sportsbook betting partner of Major League Baseball.
And we're back here on the Locked On Clemson podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. That guy's awesome. That guy's Jarvis Davis. He is the host of our Locked On Atlanta sports show. If you're a fan of anything Atlanta, Atlanta Hawks, Falcons, Atlanta Braves, anything Atlanta sports, go listen to his show. He dives into the whole city of Atlanta with all their sports. He's a funny guy. His podcast is entertaining. It's informative. It's creative. If you're a fan of anything Atlanta, make sure you go listen to his show. He's definitely got a great one. You won't want to be a part. You won't want to miss that. But anyway, let's dive in. We're a part of the series. We're in the middle of the series right now where we're going through our games from last year, and we're recapping how each game shows us something specific for this upcoming year. We're going through the 23-24 season. I watched the entire game recap over on YouTube, watched the full game recap and the highlight recap. And gives us a little bit more perspective on what's going on in the field, what's going on in the game. So I watch all that, and then we come on here and we talk about what does that game show us about this upcoming year. And today's game we're highlighting out is the Miami Clemson game. And let me tell you, this game was crazy. This is one, it was a heartbreaker. It was the 7th game of Clemson season. We ended up losing 20-28 in double overtime. But our defense was not the problem. And I know you're hearing that and it's like, duh. Yeah, every game, that's the situation almost. But the game was back and forth. Clemson got the ball first. Didn't do anything, fumbled. Miami got the ball, didn't do anything. Clemson got the ball, didn't fumble, didn't do anything. Miami got the ball, didn't do anything. Back and forth, back and forth. And then Miami scored a touchdown, long play. Their first play of their drive, 14-second drive, their running back busted out wide open in the middle and just ran away from everybody. But Nate Wiggins' first rundown of the season, ran him down, forced a fumble on the goal line. Unfortunately, a wide receiver for Miami was right behind him and picked up the fumble in the end zone to score. Jacoby George picked up that fumble and scored. So Miami took an early lead, 7-0. Following that, kept going. The game kept going. And Cade Klubnik, we scored on a Jake Brenningschool 32-yard pass from Cade Klubnik to tie it up 7-7. In the third quarter, nothing else happened in the first half. Third quarter came on, kicked a field goal on our early on in the third quarter with 9 minutes left, went up 10-7. Later on in the third quarter, our next possession, Jake Brenningschool caught another touchdown pass from Cade Klubnik to go up 17-7. And then, for some reason, Clemson was like, hey, we don't want to play in the fourth quarter. So they scored. Miami scored on a long drive. I mean, a 9-minute drive, 15 plays, 75 yards. Scored on an 11-yard touchdown pass to Colby Young to go down by 3. And then Clemson gets the ball, and we don't keep it for a minute. They scored with 8 minutes on the clock to go down by 3. They had the ball back with 7 minutes and 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter. We had the ball for 53 seconds. And they went down, kicked the field goal with 1:51 remaining. We didn't do anything in the game, so we're going into overtime. Overtime happens, and Jonathan White's our first possession, can't really do anything. We only got 11 total yards. He kicked a field goal to go up 20-17. Miami gets the ball, and we force a 3-and-out, and they kick a field goal to tie it 20-20. Miami then gets the ball first in the double overtime. They score on a 3-yard run, just really a ground-and-pound run or possession. They had 5 plays for 25 yards, scored on a 3-yard run, and then A.J. Allen also scored on a run for the 2-point conversion. Clemson gets the ball. We move it. We had a great pass completed. Gets the ball down to like the 2-yard line, 1-yard line, a 1st and goal on the 1 or 2-yard line. Doesn't score on first down. Doesn't score on second down. Doesn't score on third down. So now we are down by 8 at the 1-yard line, 4th and goal. Garrett Riley calls a read option. And of course, Miami has the line stacked. So Cade Klubnik takes the ball, goes to hand it out over to Will Shipley, but he looks to his left and sees 2 defenders standing there watching the read option, waiting for him. And seeing that, he's supposed to give the ball to Will Shipley. He does not. He continues to take it. Runs, can't beat the lineman outside, can't get outside of the linebacker. They tackle him out of bounds about at the 11-yard line, and the game is over. We lose 28-20 in double overtime. That game was a heartbreaker. I mean, it was one that hurt. When you look at the scores, when you look at the box scores, we'll get to what it shows you for next year in a second, but I'm going to give you a heads up. It's all about turnovers. Cade Klubnik went 18 for 34, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Cade Klubnik had 14 carries for negative 27 yards with all the sacks. But Will Shipley and Phil Maffa did not have a great rushing game either. 15 carries, 44 yards, 5 rushes, 14 yards. We had a total of 31 rush yards, counting the loss of yards with the sacks of this game. That's rough. Our biggest receiving by far, Jake Brennan had 5 receptions, tied for the most of the game from Clemson, but he had 126 yards with 2 touchdowns. And then fumbles. That's where it went wrong. We had 4 fumbles this game. We only lost 2 of them, but we had 4 fumbles. Cade Klubnik had 2, lost 1. Will Shipley had 1, lost it. And Phil Moff had 1, but didn't lose it. That was rough. That was really hard. But looking at defensive side, we didn't have a sack, which was rough. But we did have an interception. Sheridan Jones had a pickoff late in the game, which was nice. Looking at their side, their quarterback really had a great start. Emory Williams, it was his first start of the year, went 24 for 33, 151 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rushing, they tore us up. I'm not going to lie. Our defense, this might have been a little problem. They had over 200 yards on the rush game. They had Brashad Smith had 4 carries for 87 yards. Donald Chaney Jr., 17 carries for 63 yards. A.J. Allen, 16 carries for 54 yards. They had a 211 rushing yards. That hurts. Their biggest receiver is Colby Young, 6 receptions for 76 yards. They did have 2 fumbles, but they didn't lose either of those. They retained both of those. And then we had 0 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. They had 5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. So that one hurts. When you look at what hurt us was the turnovers. What hurt us and what hurt us continuously is we turn the ball over so much. And we do a segment every single Wednesday called Worried Wednesday, and it usually ends our show. Today we're going to compile this with our Miami game, that flashback. And this is what we're going to talk about. Miami game really highlighted, if Clemson wants success this year, they've got to keep control of the ball. When you look at last year, when you look at the overall the amount of giveaways that each team had in the FBS, first place, Kentucky gave the ball up 23 times, 14 interceptions, 9 fumbles. Appalachian State gave it away 22 times, 12 fumbles lost, 10 interceptions. Clemson, tied for the most fumbles gave up, had 21 giveaways, the 3rd most giveaways in all of college football, 9 interceptions, and 12 lost fumbles. 2 of them were this game, 1 interception was this game. If they want to be competitive, it doesn't matter how great your defense is. If they're on the field all the time because you're getting 3 turnovers a game, you're not going to have success. Especially when you're playing great opponents like Miami, NC State, Florida State, Georgia. You're not going to have success that way. We talked about how great Cade Klubnik is, and I truly believe he's going to be better. But if we can't get these fumbles underhand, which continue throughout the whole season, we just talked about, we had 12 lost fumbles. Yeah, we had 4 fumbles this game. Just this game alone, we had 4 fumbles and lost 2 of them. You can't be doing that. We cannot have success if that's the way. That's our worried. That's the segment for this week. Our Worried Wednesday is we've got to make sure that we're not turning over the ball this year. We've got to make sure that we're holding onto the ball specifically. This Miami game shows us our defense can be great. I know this game they weren't necessarily great. Gave up 200 yards rushing, gave up a lot of yards total. Overall, I mean, offensively, they also had 151 yards. So we gave up a total of 360 yards. Can't do that every game, but they didn't do it every game. And it's hard to do that when you have 3 turnovers in a game with 2 fumbles and interception. So that's what this game shows us. It shows us that in order for Clemson to win, we have got to be competitive. We've got to make sure that we are focused and holding onto the ball, and that's that. So we've had some great stuff. We've talked about some upcoming and uplifting stuff with Cade Klubnik going to be better. We've talked about a little bit downer with how much we turn over the ball, and talking about a heartbreaking game. When we come back, we're going to talk about some exciting stuff. Talk about how much Clemson went all in for EA Sports college football. We'll talk about that and so much more in just a second. Welcome to the Locked On Clemson podcast. Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm John Bivens. I'm your host. Hey, make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're focusing in on you're subscribed to the podcast, so that way every single day this can be your first listen, getting you everything you need to know regarding Clemson athletics. And let me tell you this. The new college football game comes out a week from yesterday if you pre-ordered it. If not, a week from Friday. And that game is going to be great. It's going to be, we've talked about it a lot. Everybody's talked about it a lot. It is special. They've put out some gameplay looks that we've been able to see two people play a game in it now. That game's going to be really, really fun to play. And they asked each school over the past couple of years, EA Sports has reached out to each of the universities in the game, so all of Division I teams, and they've asked for some help. They've asked for some people to supply some help, supply some aspects of the game so that each college can have a creative side to be able to have just a little bit more help. So since 2021, this game's been working. And since then, EA Sports has been reaching out to universities to make sure, hey, send us your sounds, send us pictures, send us dimensions, send us your aspects, details on everything you have so that we can make sure when fans play your home university, they can experience what it's like if they're actually at a home football game. And let me tell you, Clemson University went all in. I mean, they went all in when it came through this. They came through. We just want to tell you everything that Clemson submitted. All right. And we're going to send you every single thing that Clemson did. They asked us to submit a couple different audio qualities, a couple different audio things to EA that just simulates what people hear when they go to a game. Clemson submitted 17 different audio files, more than almost every other school. They submitted the song for the pre-team runout, which is their theme music for the 2000s reality show, The Contender. They play that when they're about to run out the hill. They turned that on. They submitted that. They submitted, of course, the Tiger Rad. Tigers, fight Tigers, fight. That's not the Tiger Rad, but they submitted that as well. They submitted the Tiger Rad, where it's this big old song, CLEMSON. I'm not going to say the part in between the O and the N like fans do. But anyway, they submitted that song. My favorite audio that they submitted, it's something I love hearing every time, is Frank Howard's quote. If you're not giving 100%, keep your filthy hands off my rock. They submitted that audio quote. They submitted Clemson's band drum cadence. You know, the band drum that they play so often. They submitted that. They submitted the first down cheer from the band, how they cheer every single first down we get. They play a specific cheer. They submitted that. Our third down defense, they submitted that, which is just, I hear that and I immediately think the Kirk Herbstreit calling the game in the playoff game against Ohio State. That's what I think back to. But they submit that third down defense game. They submit a portion of the band's intro song. So another portion of that Tiger Rag, part of that plays when we have fourth down on defense. That's going to be in the game. So every time there's a fourth down on defense, Clemson's on the field, that will play. They submitted, like we talked about, the Tiger Rag, the band's fight song for every touchdown. They submitted Tiger Rag for every single successful pad or two-point conversion. Every successful field goal, the Tiger Rag. Every takeaway or fumble recovery, they play D-Rag, which is a riff of the original fight song, the older song. They play a portion of that. Big defensive stop, D-Rag. You see where I could go more and more and more and more and more on. Some of the coolest parts that they put some band cheers, they put some band defense stuffs. They submitted some They submitted a couple different fan cheers as well, crowd chants. They submitted the CLEMSON fight Tigers, fight Tigers, fight, fight, fight. Woo! They put that in. They put Go Tigers Go. I just talked for like 3 minutes on just the audio, and there's more. We're going to dive into more. Clemson submitted 17 different audio files of what's going to be in the game. That's electric. That's amazing. They also went through, what else did they submit? Well, they went through and they put in a couple more. ahead of opening game kickoffs, they play this song called the Zombie Nation. It has nothing to do with zombies or anything like that, but they play that before every single home kickoff. They included a 41-second snippet of that song that'll play on the game when you play that there. And so all of that is just audio. That is just the audio side. Now let's jump into the visual assets. So each school asked this call. Every school went to, or every EA Sport went to every college and said, "Hey, we need you to come through and we need you to submit we want to get a 360-degree stadium shot of your home stadium just so we can accurately create this like visual representation." So they asked for 40 different spots to submit a photo from these 40 different spots, and if teams would do that, they'd be able to create this photo. Clemson was like, you know what? We're going to do better than that. So then they had two Clemson students in July of 21, went out to the Memorial Stadium, the True Death Valley, went to 84 different spots, took photos at every single spot, and then sent in a combined total of 1,000 photos. They asked for 40 spots, at least one picture from each spot. We submitted 1,000 photos. That's how much all in Clemson went on this. They went all in to make sure that when you play this game, you can experience it truly as Clemson. They went through and they submitted spots from the stadium key. They submitted it from every single stadium seating option, lower deck, upper deck, all of it. They did it from the hill in the east end zone. They went from the Tiger Prop midfield. They went to the sidelines. They went and they saw the upgrades of the huge the scoreboard at the stadium. They did it from the ribbon boards. They did it the luxury board. Or the luxury club in the west end zone. They did the new sign that says Clemson welcomes you to Death Valley. They did all of that. Every single part of that is going to be in the new game. Our lighting system, all the crazy lighting game for night games, that's going to be in the new game reportedly. There's so much more stuff, but it gets more. Again, I know I'm rattling on. I want you to know exactly what Clemson put in this game. They submitted a detailed report of how the Clemson helmet stickers go. So Clemson, like so many universities, puts on the helmet stickers throughout the season. So now they've put it in, and they've said that when you play as Clemson in a dynasty mode, as players play better throughout the season, they're going to earn more helmet stickers the exact same way and reasons that they earn it in real life. They talked about how it starts on the left side above the ACC decal on the back of the helmet. They do 2 rows on the left side of 5 each, then they go to the right. And then they go 6 tall with 3 rows. Then they go to the left. Then they do 4 with 8 tall. They talked about how they just do it back and forth, back and forth. They're putting all of that into the game just like what Clemson does. It keeps going. They also went through and they included specific details on the 3 trophies that we play against rivalries. We play against the Palmetto Bowl trophy against South Carolina that we pass back and forth, whoever wins. That trophy is going to be in the game. The Textile Bowl with NC State, that bowl trophy is going to be in the game. The O'Rourke McFadden trophy with Boston College, that trophy is going to be in the game. Clemson Tigers was asked for a little bit of help to make sure Clemson was in the game, and they gave everything. They went completely all out. There were shots of Cade Klubnik under center and players preparing to run down the hill in the original trophy or in the original game. The Textile Bowl trophy also got in that gameplay video that was on there. This game is going to be crazy. Did you know EA Sports, in order for them to make sure that Clemson's hill was accurate in the game, they built a 2-story hill that simulates exactly how it is, and they hired stunt actors to come out and jump down the hill like Clemson players do to try to truly emulate what Clemson happens. Clemson went all out. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not sponsored by the game. They don't need me to be sponsored, right? Like, they got plenty of help on their own. If you're a Clemson fan, you should buy this game just so anytime you want, fast forward a year from now, it's June of 2025, and you are missing college football. You know what you have to do? You don't have to go to YouTube. Pull up College Football 24 and play a game at home for Clemson. You'll be able to feel just like you're at the stadium. This game is going to be amazing, not just for gameplay, not just for style, but it's going to truly replicate and show what it's like to truly be a part of the team, truly be a part of the game when you're at Clemson University. I'm stoked. I'm so excited about this. There's a lot to do. Clemson came in, they gave it their all, and I'm so appreciative of it because I really feel like this game is going to be special when it comes to Clemson University. But with all that being said, that is going to wrap up this episode of the Locked On Clemson podcast. We're going to have some more football talk later on this week as we dive into and continue this summer going as we're counting down to kickoff, less than 2 months away now. Let me know your thoughts on today's topics. What's your thoughts on all three things that we talked about? Reach out to us over on Twitter. Drop a comment on YouTube. We'd love to hear your feedback and comments and have a conversation with you. If you haven't, please make sure you're subscribed to this podcast. We are on the road to 1,000, and we are so grateful for all of our everydayers. Share this with share this with a friend, share this with other Clemson fans. Let's build this podcast. Help us get to that road to 1,000, just so we can create that environment, create that culture. All you have to do is hit that subscribe. If you are an audio listener, our audio, we almost suggest that more than the video side. If you're on your way to work, if you're out for a run, if you're playing a video game, if college football comes out next week, throw in a pair of headphones and listen to the podcast throughout your day. That way you're not stuck behind a TV screen for a little bit. But either way, we appreciate every single one of you listening and watching, joining us here on the Locked On Clemson podcast. We can't wait to see you tomorrow in the next episode of the show. But until then, you know what to do. You keep that Tiger pride alive and roaring. And as always, go Tigers.